Two storms hit Gianni Infantino in the same week. One is about money. The other is about the World Cup itself. Separately, either would be an awkward headline. Together, they become something closer to a referendum on how he runs world football. Because Infantino is no longer just football's administrator. Over a decade, he has become its architect, its salesman, and its single point of failure. 211 member associations. Every one of them holds a vote. Every one of them depends on money that flows out of Zurich. His critics say this week exposes a pattern. His allies say it is simply the price of ambition. Here is the case from both sides. But to understand why these two stories cut so deep, you have to go back to how he got the job in the first place. February 2016. FIFA is not an organization in crisis. It is, quite literally, a crime scene. The previous May, plainclothes police had walked into a five-star Zurich hotel at dawn and arrested 7 senior football officials. Sepp Blatter was finished. Michel Platini, the presumed heir, was banned. Into that vacuum stepped a Swiss lawyer few outside UEFA could name. Gianni Infantino was born in Brig, a small town in the Swiss Alps, to Italian immigrant parents, a short drive from where Blatter grew up. A lawyer, a multilingual administrator. For years, the man millions watched pull balls out of bowls at Champions League draws. He won on the second ballot with a simple pitch: transparency, reform, and money for every federation in the room. The FIFA Forward program multiplied development payments. Federations that had counted in hundreds of thousands suddenly counted in millions. It was genuine reform. It was also, his critics argue, an election machine, because those same federations cast the votes. By 2019, he ran unopposed. By 2023, he was re-elected by acclamation. No rival, no count, just applause. A president with no opponents is very hard to hold to account. Which brings us to a Swiss prosecutor and 3 private meetings. Switzerland's Attorney General, Michael Lauber, was running a criminal investigation into FIFA. Infantino was the president of FIFA. Between 2016 and 2017, the two men met privately at least 3 times. The meetings were not minuted. When the third meeting surfaced, the participants said they could not remember what was discussed, or, at first, that it had happened at all. The body supervising Swiss prosecutors found Lauber had lied and concealed the meeting. In 2020, he resigned. A special prosecutor then opened criminal proceedings against Infantino himself: abuse of public office, breach of official secrecy, incitement. Infantino denied any wrongdoing. Meeting a prosecutor about cleaning up football, he argued, was not only lawful, it was his responsibility. The case dragged on for years through appeals and jurisdictional fights. It never produced a conviction. But the image stuck. The man cleaning up FIFA, sitting with the man investigating FIFA, in rooms where nobody took notes. That is the template for almost every controversy since. Nothing proven, everything uncomfortable, and one man deciding what counts as normal. Which brings us to the first storm of this week. The one about money that was promised and money that people say never arrived. The accusation reported this week is blunt. Millions committed under Infantino's FIFA were, allegedly, never actually paid out. FIFA rejects the framing. Its defenders point to record revenue and record distributions to member associations under this president. And the revenue is real. $7.6 billion in the last completed cycle, with roughly $11 billion forecast for this one. So the question was never whether FIFA has money. It is who ends up holding it, and who is left waiting. And this is not the first time that question has been put to him. There is already a well-documented precedent. In 2023, FIFA made a landmark promise at the Women's World Cup: prize money paid directly into every individual player's bank account. $30,000 guaranteed to every player who reached the group stage, up to $270,000 for a world champion. Then players and their unions reported that in several countries the money came late. In some cases, they said, it never came at all. FIFA said it had paid the federations what it owed. Players said they never saw it. Both statements can be true at once. And that is the structural flaw. Infantino's model runs on money flowing downhill through 211 bodies he does not directly control. He takes the credit at the announcement. The federations take the cash. And when it goes missing, nobody is quite in charge. Meanwhile, the numbers around him keep climbing. In 2025, FIFA staged an entirely new competition, a 32-team Club World Cup in the United States. $1 billion in prize money. A global broadcast deal reported at around $1 billion more, later backed, in part, by Saudi investment. So when somebody says the money didn't arrive, it lands differently, because everyone can now see exactly how much money there is. The second wave of criticism has nothing to do with a missing payment. It is about a plan, and about how big he wants football to get. This summer, the tournament he built finally happened. 48 teams, 104 matches, 39 days, 3 host countries. Qatar staged 64 matches. North America staged 104. The World Cup grew by more than half in a single 4-year cycle. And long before a ball was kicked in June, Infantino was already entertaining something considerably bigger. In March 2025, Uruguay's federation floated a 64-team World Cup for 2030, a one-off, to mark football's 100th birthday. Infantino's answer was not no. He said the idea deserved to be looked at properly. In football politics, that is a green light. The pushback was immediate. UEFA President Alexander Seferin called it, flatly, a bad idea, and said so in public more than once. CONCACAF's president agreed. So did European leagues, who warned that a 64-team finals would hollow out qualifying on every continent. Do the arithmetic. 32 teams in 2022, 48 in 2026. 64 would push a single World Cup towards 128 matches. At that size, a World Cup stops behaving like a tournament. It starts behaving like a season. So why keep pushing against his own confederations? Here is the answer his critics return to every single time. FIFA has 211 member associations. Each holds exactly 1 vote. Germany counts the same as Guam. Every extra place at a World Cup turns a federation that has never qualified into a federation that suddenly believes it might. That is the accusation underneath all of it. Expansion sold as football policy, but functioning, conveniently, as an election strategy. And the case against growing again is being built, piece by piece, out of what the last expansion already cost. Start with heat. A North American summer, stadiums with no roofs, and afternoon kickoffs scheduled to suit European television. The warning arrived a full year early. At the 2025 Club World Cup, matches were suspended for thunderstorms and played in punishing humidity. Chelsea's Enzo Fernandez said the heat left his head spinning and described playing in those conditions as genuinely dangerous. FIFPro, the global players' union, spent that summer demanding longer cooling breaks, later kickoffs, and a serious rethink of the calendar. Then the tickets. FIFA moved to dynamic pricing, seats priced like airline fares, floating upward with demand rather than fixed in advance. Entry-level seats were advertised from around $60. On FIFA's own resale platform, prices for the biggest matches were reported in the thousands. Football supporters Europe accused FIFA of straightforward greed and of pricing ordinary supporters out of a tournament sold as everybody's. In Brussels, European leagues and the Players' Union had already gone further, filing a formal competition complaint against FIFA over the crowded calendar. Their argument, stripped down to one sentence: FIFA writes the football calendar and then sells the tournaments that fill it. There is a third front, and it is not really about football at all. It is about politics. In January 2025, Infantino attended Donald Trump's inauguration. By May, FIFA had opened an office inside Trump Tower in New York. The Club World Cup trophy ended up parked in the Oval Office. Infantino called that partnership. Plenty of people inside football called it something else. That same month, he turned up hours late to FIFA's own Congress in Paraguay, having been traveling through the Gulf with Trump's delegation. Delegates walked out. UEFA officials left the hall and accused FIFA of putting private political interests ahead of the sport itself. In December, at the World Cup draw in Washington, FIFA unveiled a brand new peace prize and handed the first one to Donald Trump. And in 2034, the World Cup goes to Saudi Arabia, one bidder, waved through by acclamation over documented warnings about migrant labor. Which leaves the only question that actually matters inside FIFA. Who, in practice, is able to stop him? Remember how he arrived. In 2016, Infantino was the reform candidate, elected to clean up the wreckage Sepp Blatter left behind. He won again in 2019. In 2023, in Kigali, nobody stood against him at all. He was confirmed by acclamation. No ballot required. FIFA has since ruled that his first, partial term does not count towards the limit. On that reading, he can govern into the 2030s. His defense, meanwhile, is a number. Revenue of roughly $13 billion across the 2023 to 2026 cycle, a record by a distance. And most of that money flows back out, development funding to the same 211 federations that keep re-electing him. So the pressure on Gianni Infantino will not arrive as a vote. The electorate is also the beneficiary. It arrives instead through courts, regulators, sponsors, and through players who are quietly running out of summers. Watch three things: whether the unpaid millions claim reaches a courtroom, whether Brussels ever rules, and whether 64 teams survives contact with the confederations. Infantino's bet has never really changed. Make it bigger, pay everybody, and the awkward questions get quieter every cycle. It is a bet that holds, right up to the moment a payment is late, and everybody